from On a Stamp Page again, here to share another project for this month's Crafters Castle Mixed Media Mania video blog hop. We are sponsored by Create for Less, and all of these gorgeous products came from that store. Today I'm going to share with you a more clean and simple mixed media card that I created using the Avery L Magnolia stamp set and its coordinating die cuts, as well as stamps from the Bo Bunny Wall-to-Wall Textures, Bo Bunny It Is Written stamps, and the Paper Essentials Tile Pattern stencil. I've also used some more Doris Bling and inks by Stephanie Bernard with Color Box that I'll tell you all the different colors. Oops, and I've also used Stickles and Stardust. So let's get to it. This card is super quick and easy, and I think that you'll enjoy doing it. So I've already prepped my card base, and I've gone ahead and done the bottom edges, rounded them because I like the way that looks. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the stencil and just lay it on top. And like I said in my last video, if you want to, you can take some washi tape and you can stick it down, but I've found that I can just carefully hold on to it and it works fine. So I'm going to be using Stephanie Bernard Color Box ink and bubblegum for my card base, and the Paper Essentials tile pattern. And I'm just going to create kind of a cascading tile feel, and I'm just going to lightly tap the ink as I go down. And since this is such a light ink, I have to go over a couple of times. It's such a beautiful pale pink. I love it. And I'm kind of just going in this nice triangle way to create part of this card to be stenciled with some of the same texture that I'm going to use on the flower in a little bit. And then I'm going to, I want to blend that a little bit better. Then I'm just going to carefully take that away, and there you see I have this really nice background ready for my big flower. Let me show you what the flower looks like again. So it's going to be this nice background to add my flower to. Next, I'm going to take Stephanie Bernard ink Color Box again in Licorice, and I'm going to take a sentiment from the Avery L Magnolia stamp set. It says Heartfelt Thanks. I'm going to get this inked up really well. I love these inks because they stamp evenly and they are really good for all different types of stamps. I'm going to stamp that right here. Even pressure. Look how beautiful that image is. And then I'm also going to use this same ink and this image from the Avery L stamp set, and I'm actually, well, no, I think it should be okay. Yeah, I should be okay. And I'm going to stamp this a few times to create kind of a floral background for my main flower. I'm going to put one there. I'm going to put one here. And I'm going to come down and have one here, and that'll just give another extra layer of texture when I add my flower. I'm going to wait to add the bling in a little bit, so I'm going to set that aside, and then I'm going to grab some more Paper Arts textured paper, which is awesome, and I'm going to take the bubblegum ink again, and I'm just going to subtly shade in a part of it. Like, it doesn't need to be super defined or anything, because this is going to be the base of my flower. And so I'm doing this bubblegum ink again, and I'm just shading off a portion that I think will be big enough for the flower. And then I'm going to take the same tile stencil and lay this right here. And I'm going to take Stephanie Bernard ink in Guava, which is a darker pink, and I'm going to stencil over my light pink, just tapping it. And I love this vibrant pink. I think it is so beautiful. And I'm going to carefully take that off, and there I've got my tiled dark pink over the light pink. And then next what I'm going to do is I'm going to take an image from the Bo Bunny It Is Written stamp set, this image right here. And I'm going to take Stephanie Bernard ink and grape, and I'm going to ink this up really well. And I'm going to stamp this a couple of times. Sorry to go kind of angular on you. I'm going to do one that way, and then I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to do one that way. So that just gives it another extra added texture. Next, I'm going to take the beautiful large bloom image from that Avery L Magnolia stamp set. And I'm going to ink that up. Actually, I think I'm going to use, sorry for my arm going across, I'm going to use Stays On ink for this because I'm going to be adding some glitter. And last time my ink bled. So I'm learning from my first mistakes. And I'm adding this on. I'm kind of twisting it as I put it on because Stays On tends to be sticky and sometimes it doesn't want to adhere to the stamp. So I kind of go in this twisting manner and then I tap. So I think that's inked up pretty well. And I'm just going to take this and stamp it even pressure, pushing down really hard. And like I showed you last time with my vellum, sometimes when I'm using Stays On, I like to turn it over and go like this just to make sure that I've gotten the image on there. Carefully take it off. Oh, and it didn't work very well. Darn it. Okay, so change of plans. Using the Stephanie Bernard licorice ink. Thank you for bearing with me, friends. Let's try doing this over the Stays On and see if we can get that center of the flower on there. See if I can line that up again. There we go. Pushing down, even pressure. Trying to get that, there we go, center. It's a little bit doubled, but that's okay because I'm going to be adding, like I said, some glitter and I can fill in some of those parts so that it doesn't look like a double flower. So that's the flower part. Okay, now I'm going to do the textures for my leaf. So I'm just going to take this panel, turn it this way. The leaf and stem down here, what I started with was I started by, blending Stephanie Bernard Color Box ink in Artichoke. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to blend that up in here. And that's a lot darker than it was last time, so I might actually blend a little bit more down here. Make it darker over there, make it lighter over here. And I'm going to use this light section down here. So I've got the artichoke. And then I'm going to take that same stencil and I'm going to at first wipe it down real quick because I don't want pink on my leaf. Not that pink leaves are bad or anything. If you want pink leaves, go for it. But I'm going for more greens. So I'm going to quickly wipe that down. Take this, lay it over my area that's lighter. And I'm going to take Stephanie Bernard ink in Spearmint. And I'm going to do some stenciling over that. So lightly tapping, maybe blending just a smidgen. If you always go in one way, like if you're holding over here, if you always blend this way, you won't have issues with the stencil going places. And I'm going to take that up. So now I've got my stenciled textured look that I was going for there. And then the last part of the leaf that I'm going to do for texture is I'm going to take this image from the Bo Bunny Wall to Wall Textures and I am going to take blueberry ink from Stephanie Bernard and I'm going to stamp that for just a little bit of an interesting color. Sometimes I like to do that. And so I'm going to stamp here and I'm going to stamp here so that I have a big enough area. So I've got my textured area ready for my leaf image. So next I'm going to take that stem and leaf image And I learned my lesson about stays on from the other one. So we're gonna go back to the amazing Stephanie Bernard Licorice Color Box ink. And I'm gonna ink that up. And I'm gonna stamp my stem image right there in the middle. So I've got my stem in there. And technically, if I would have been thinking ahead, I probably could have gotten more than one stem image out of that. Okay, so now bear with me, because now what I need to do is I need to take my die cuts and die cut out these images. So we're gonna see if I can do that here on camera. If not, you'll see this cut out and come back in just a second. So I'm gonna grab my Big Shot, and I'm going to grab my 2 dies, which are already ready for me with some washi tape. I do have a magnetic base, but when I'm working with images like this, I just like to be doubly sure that and I'm gonna flip this, sorry friends. I just like to make doubly sure that it's staying in place, because I wanna make sure I'm die cutting out that image. So I'm gonna lay this on my die cutting machine, scoot that over a little bit to make sure you can see. And I'm gonna line this up with my image as best I can. It's a little bit trickier when you have all of this texture on here, but it's still doable. And then I'm gonna push that down, because that's exactly where it needs to be. Do the same thing with the flower image, which this is gonna be a little bit trickier since I have that double image, which is gonna be okay, because part of it's gonna get die cut out. The other part we're going to cover with beautiful glitter, so even mistakes can become beautiful. Put that down. Run this through my machine real quick. I always like to go forward and then backward, just to make sure that I got a nice even cut. So we're gonna go all the way back through again. I'm gonna grab this off of my machine. Thank you, Big Shot. Push that over there. And let's get to putting this card together all the way. Here is our example. Here's what I've already got. So I'm gonna add the flower and add some bling. So the first step is to add the stem. So I'm gonna take this beautiful stem out, and I'm gonna kind of decide where I want that. And I'm going to use my Tombow Mono Runner to adhere that to the card base. And I apologize if you hear creaking. For some reason my chair has decided today it's gonna creak a little bit whenever I move, and it's driving me crazy. So I apologize if you're hearing that. And I'm gonna add that right like that. And then I'm gonna take this beautiful flower, and it's gonna go kind of like this. And you know what, I think I wanna move this down a little bit. So I'm gonna scooch this down a smidge. There we go. And I'm gonna use Scotch mounting foam for this. And if you saw my last video, you know that I love this because I can just tear it. I don't have to cut it. So I can just tear a few pieces off and get this on here quicker. I'm gonna put one in the middle so it doesn't come up, and I might put a smidgen bit up here. So I'm gonna take that. Trying to settle myself so my chair doesn't squeak. Tell me in the comments if you hear the chair, because if you don't, then I don't have to worry about it. But for some reason, it's bothering me. And I know that's not craft related, so I apologize. So anyway, so there I've got all of my mounting foam on there. I'm gonna put my flower right like that. And then I'm gonna add some stickles. I'm gonna add them kind of where there's like a double line, just to give it a little bit of a highlight, just to give it a little bit more texture, more bling, since this is a pretty simple card. And since I used the Stephanie Bernard ink, it will start to kind of bleed into this, but I'm kind of okay with it because I don't mind. I'm also going to put it in the center, just kind of do some little dabby dots. I think I'm okay with it bleeding in, mainly because it gives it more of a textured feel. And you know, nature's not perfect, so my card about with nature on it doesn't have to be perfect. Add some right here. I also really love these colors by Stephanie Bernard, and I love that Create for Less has them available. And also I love that they have stamps and coordinating dies. It's just so amazing. So hopefully you go and check them out. Don't forget to visit everybody else for more chances to win that prize for this month, and join us also. And then last but not least, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some bling from Doris. That one right there, and then a tiny one right here, and then a medium-ish one right there. And there you have it. A quick and easy, clean and simple mixed media card. Hopefully you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you go and grab these supplies today and come join us this month at Crafters Castle. You've got a couple of weeks left. And until next time, hugs and happy stamping, friends.